All right, let's get into it. We're talking about one of the most influential and, yeah, one of the most controversial personal finance books of all time. Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad. For so many people, this book is basically a Bible for how to get rich. But for others, they say it's a dangerous fantasy. So, which one is it really? Right from the get go, the book just grabs you with these provocative lines. This one flips a famous saying completely on its head. And honestly, that's a classic Kiyosaki move. It's designed to be memorable, to shock you a little, and to make you question everything you thought you knew about money. And you know what? That approach absolutely worked. I mean, since it first came out way back in 1997, this book has become a global phenomenon. We're talking millions and millions of copies sold all over the world. It genuinely changed how an entire generation of people started to think about work and wealth. Okay, so the real magic of the book is how simple it is. It's all based on a story. Kiyosaki teaches all his financial lessons through the eyes of two different father figures. There's his own dad, the poor dad, who was super educated but always struggled with money. And then there's his best friend's dad, the rich dad, who was the entrepreneur. And this comparison right here really gets to the heart of it all. See, the poor dad's advice is all about job security, play it safe. But the rich dad, he's all about financial education, taking calculated risks, and owning the whole system, instead of just being a tiny cog inside of it. It's a complete clash of mindsets. So, what were these big revolutionary lessons that got everyone so excited? Let's break down the central promise of what this whole rich dad philosophy is actually about. This right here, this is the absolute core of the entire book. The goal isn't just about getting a bigger paycheck. No, the real goal is to build systems, to buy things, assets that generate income for you, even when you're not actively working. It's all about creating that passive income so you can be truly financially free. And this is where Kiyosaki's power really comes from. He keeps things incredibly simple. He just throws out all the complicated accounting terms. For him, it's just this. An asset puts money in your pocket, a liability takes money out of your pocket. That's it. And that simple idea is the foundation for everything else. So the whole path to getting rich gets boiled down to this incredibly simple two-step plan. Step 1, know the difference. Step 2, spend your life buying the things that put money in your pocket. That's the whole game, according to him. Forget climbing the corporate ladder. The real path is just this disciplined, lifelong habit of buying assets. And what's the big prize for doing all this? Well, you get to escape what he famously calls the rat race. And you know what that is, right? It's that exhausting, endless cycle where you get a raise, so you buy a nicer car or a bigger house, and suddenly your expenses are higher and you're just trapped, working even harder just to stay exactly where you are. Kiyosaki even gives us a map for this journey. He calls it the cash flow quadrant. See, most of us live on that left side, as an employee or maybe self-employed, where we're basically just trading our time for money. The goal is to get over to the right side, to become a business owner who has a system working for them, or an investor whose money is doing all the work. Now, all of that sounds pretty amazing, right? Super empowering. But this is where the story takes a really sharp turn. Because for all of its millions of fans, this book and its author have faced a huge storm of very serious criticism over the years. And let's just start with the biggest question of them all. Was the rich dad even a real person? I mean, the entire foundational character of the book, the guy all this wisdom comes from, he might not have ever existed. A lot of journalists and critics who've looked into it believe that Rich Dad was at best a mix of different people and at worst just completely made up. And oh, the critiques do not stop there. Financial experts will tell you the advice is just dangerously simple. It promotes really risky strategies, like going into massive debt to buy property, without talking about the huge downsides. They'll also point to the fact that one of his own companies went bankrupt and that the book is super popular with multi-level marketing schemes. Those are some major red flags. This comment from a Reddit user just perfectly captures how a lot of skeptics feel. Is the simplicity of the book a sign of pure genius, making complicated ideas easy for everyone? Or is it because the ideas themselves just don't have the depth and the nuance you actually need to succeed in the real world? Which brings us to the ultimate accusation, that Robert Kiyosaki didn't actually get rich by using the methods in his book. Instead, he got rich by selling the dream of getting rich to millions of people through his books, his board games, and his very expensive seminars. So, how are we supposed to make sense of all this? You've got a book that has inspired millions of people, but at the same time, it's surrounded by all this controversy. The legacy of Rich Dad Poor Dad, well, it's anything but simple. So, here's what it all boils down to. On the one hand, you can't deny the book is a powerful mindset shifter. It has, without a doubt, inspired countless people to get serious about their finances. But on the other hand, the warnings are pretty severe. The core story is probably made up, the advice can be super risky, and the author's business model seems to profit more from teaching than from actually doing. And that leaves us with the one big question at the end of all this. Is Rich Dad Poor Dad a genuine key to unlocking financial freedom? Or is its real genius not in the financial advice at all, but in its incredible, masterful ability to market a dream? Well, that's the complicated legacy you're left to decide on for yourself.